staying tuned to Weekend Panorama showing on the conference station, NTA Lokoja. Well, for our live studio discussion this evening, I have in the house a senior lecturer from the Department of Political Science, Federal University, Lokoja, in the person of Dr. Abraham Peter. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Good evening, viewers.
Thank you again for coming. I hope the strike is not affecting you too much.
No, well, it's okay. We're coping up.
Oh, thank you. We pray and hope that everything will go well.
Yes, sir.
Well, today we are looking at vote buying in elections. Doctor, has anyone, any politician, came to you with money in order to buy your votes before?
Well, thank you. Good evening, viewers. Politicians know who they can buy. Yeah, they don't come to people like us to buy us because we cannot be bought.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Know those who are go to the rural areas, the villages, where they can deceive people with money. They hardly get go to the intellectual community.
That's
people
right.
who are enlightened to try to purchase them because they cannot be bought.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, to set the ball rolling, we have a vox pop conducted by Abdul Salam Mohammed on vote buying in elections.
Democratic system of government gives the people the opportunity to choose their leaders themselves through political parties' platform, while at the party levels, the standard bearer will flag the party's flag. This process has strengthened internal democracy. The Electoral Act gives the parties three options for the emergence of a candidate, which include consensus, indirect or direct primaries. In the 2022 party primaries, all the three processes of bringing out the standard bearer were used by the political parties in selecting who fly the party's flag. Some of the people who spoke to NTA News expressed worry on the process, which they describe as not perfect due to the introduction of money.
Watch, and I observe one thing in the Nigerian politics now, that in future, if we continue like this in future, that a common man in the street will never contest for anything. Because if you don't have money, you will never contest. I don't think taking money in the name of voting a candidate is the right one. So taking money from a candidate will not move this country further or will not take us anywhere. Because it's as if they are buying our mandate.
In those days, when we practiced real democracy, there was nothing like vote buying. And that time, your credibility will speak for you. If you are credible, the people that you are going to represent at the local government level or state level or national level will determine by your antecedents.
The way our manner our politicians are going is very bad in our society.
It is hoped that as the party primaries have come and gone, it is now left for the party to go back to the drawing board and come up with ways of having a peaceful and credible election. I am Abdul Salam Mohammed, NTA News.
Many thanks, Abdul Salam, for that first one. Now, we still have in the studio Dr. Abraham Peter for our live studio discussion, as I said earlier. Now, Doctor, what is your immediate reaction to using money in order to buy people's conscience?
Well, it's unfortunate that vote buying, what we may call in political science balance as primitive accumulation of votes.
Okay, primitive accumulation
of votes
of
have become a trend in Nigeria.
So sad.
Where people are bought. People's votes are bought, and people vote against their conscience, against credibility, against meritocracy. People who have the money, the highest bidders have their way. It's popular in election when the candidate gives 1,000, another candidate gives double of that amount of money, and the highest bidders have their way. And it's a dangerous trend, very dangerous and negative trend to Nigeria's political development.
During the party primaries, in most of the party primaries that we had, money was used to the extent extent that people will even make fun of if now people that eat egg and bread are the delegates and
Yes.
all that. How can we curtail this menace? Because it's becoming an everyday thing.
It's okay. The thing is that number one, well, the popular joke, I think it was in Kano, that if you come, they ask you, do you want delegate
Delegate tea
or you want
you want
ASU,
ASU tea, yeah.
ASU tea. And those who opted for delegate tea, we have tea, milk, we have
Milo,
bread, we have
everything.
Milo, we have egg, we have everything. And those who opted for ASU tea, we have only lifting, and the rest.
That's right.
But that's just by the way anyway. But the truth is that the political offices are so juicy, so juicy, to the point that everybody wants to be there. And of course, in this part of our society, third world, where access to political office gives you access to every other thing. So people see political office as an opportunity to become wealthy, to become rich, to make it overnight. And so because of that, some people take it as do or die. Some people even kill their fellow contestants or kill human beings to get to that office. Some people, do everything possible. And that's why vote buying has become a popular trend in Nigeria. So long as these political offices are very juicy, too juicy, people do everything possible to outdo, outsmart, their fellow contestants that they can get to that place. And that's why vote buying has become a major trend.
That's sad. Well, we'll take a short break here. Weekend Panorama will continue with reports coming from Kaba. Thank you for staying tuned on Weekend Panorama. Now we are going to have our next report coming from the western zone of the state on the influence of and how it affects Nigerians and democracy by Jonathan Omajadu.
If the primary elections and the governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states are litmus tests for the 2023 general elections, then vote buying is one electoral monster that needs to be tamed for the nation to achieve anything close to a free and fair election.
On Nigerian politics have been very negative. They have succeeded in producing bad leaders because the politicians have monetized so many things, especially the offices. As it stands, it appears people who meant well and who have capacity to deliver, because they don't have enough cash in their pockets, cannot have their way.
It's not proper or right to buy their votes because you influence them wrongly. Influence them, perhaps they don't want to support your party, but when you pay for their votes, you buy their conscience, you buy them up. I think it's very bad for democracy.
People who are honest can no more go into politics, because like me, I cannot, after getting my money honestly, now start distributing it to people because I want them to vote for me. So that is just the advice. Those who are honest and are ready to serve, they will not be able to contest for any election again.
To curb this electoral malpractice, stakeholders need to embark on rigorous sensitization campaign.
Do a massive orientation of Nigerian voters to arouse their consciousness to the effect that they should look at the capacity of those politicians who can actually deliver, put the country right, then we can have a better deal. Otherwise, vote buying will continue to have a negative effect on politics in Nigeria.
Okaba, Jonathan Omajali, NTA News.
Thank you, Omajali, for putting up that report. Now, Doctor, what is your view on the report we just watched, your observations and suggestions on the whole issue?
Well, the truth is that sincere people who can deliver, you remember that the economy of Nigeria has completely nosedived. Everything has turned bad in this country.
That's right.
You see, and then at this critical point as a country, as a people, it's time for us to come together and look for a competent, credible person to, reorder the affairs of this country. But unfortunately, vote buying will continue because, number one, the people are heavily impoverished.
That's right.
The politicians know how to buy the vote. And how would they buy the vote? Until they make you very, very poor. Very poor. To the point that you can sell yourself.
Sell your conscience. That's right.
You can sell your conscience. And that's what's happening now, in Nigeria. For example, in the political economy parlance, talk about labor being available in the market to be bought and to be sold. So Nigerians are available in the marketplace to be bought because they are heavily impoverished. Heavily impoverished. I can't tell anybody now, maybe Nigeria, who is not poor. Maybe only the politicians. Because every one of us have been impoverished, and then they look for people heavily impoverished, and then dangle some little 1,000, 5,000 before them, and then they rush for it and vote for them. And then the cycle of impoverishment and misery continues for another 4 years. I think it's high time we come to tend to it in Nigeria and try to reject these people. Reject their money, reject them. Let's, for once, come together and get credible people to manage the affairs of this country. That's the only way.
But Doctor, do you think at this point we are ready for that? I mean, Nigeria, is Nigeria really ready to take the bull by the horn and say, we don't need your money, we don't need your services, we don't need your goods, we need good governance. Do you think we are at that point where such can
we can achieve it? Some nations of the world have achieved it. They came to that point where they say no. We have seen a country where politicians bring their rice and their beans and the rest, and the people rejected them. And we can't do that in this country.
I wish we did.
We can't do that. I think the youth, some of us who are still in the particular within the age frame of the youth can still call me youth. I'm still a youth. In that category, the future is not there. There's no future for the youth in this country. And I wonder what will be the future for the small children who are being given birth in Nigeria. So it is time Nigeria will be in the next few years become about the 4th most populous country in the world. There must be a plan for this future. And then the only way we can do is for the youth to come together, sensitize themselves. Enough is enough for this fish as being given to us. You better teach me how to fish than to give me fish. And we reject your fish, want to know how to fish. And the person the good fisherman who teaches us how to fish is the person we want. We don't care to know whether it's coming from the east or from the south or from the west. As long as the Nigerians who means well for the country at all levels, at national level, at the state level, at all levels, we want people who can give our children, give us future, give our children future. That's my plea to the youth. And I believe that if we come together as youth, there's nothing we cannot achieve in this country.
That's true. There's power in the mind. And once one makes up his mind that this is what I want to do, why I asked this question about if we are really ready. Many a times you look at the young people that are supposed to say enough of this thing that is happening are the ones going after the politicians. They're the ones following. They're the ones doing their bidding. They send them to Togri and all that. For how long will our youth be deceived?
It pains me. My heart bleeds when I see young people. For example, we are in the 6th month of ASU strike.
ASU strike, that's right.
But you see, in 2020, ASU was on strike for 9 months.
That's right.
And the children of these politicians are in school, in the UX, in UK, other advanced societies of the world, and they are graduating. And the children of the poor are here suffering, not being able to graduate after a program of 4 years, are doing 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, still running. I think it's high time the youth to borrow themselves sense. That these people, if you want me to be a talk, bring your son, let your son lead the delegation. Then I will follow.
And I'll follow.
If you cannot bring your son, I am also a son of somebody, I cannot be available for the talk break. So it is high time we come to terms with that reality. Because these people, these guys use these young men and dump them. And I think that's one of the reasons why insecurity is even escalating, because they are armed, they are equipped by politicians, and when they finish the work with the politicians, these arms cannot be retrieved, and then this young one become terror to society. It is high time we drop our guns, drop our arms, borrow ourselves sense, come together, say what we want is no longer your money, what we want good governance. So long as vote buying is going on, you can't talk about good governance because you have already been bought and you are enslaved for the next 4 years. And the next round of election, another peanut is brought to you again, you are bought, and the cycle continues. And these politicians will finish their work and then will install their sons or their in-laws or whoever, those that are trained from abroad, and we cannot be trained here in Nigeria. I say it's high time we put ourselves as people of this country, and do the right thing, for the sake of the future.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I like that statement. You need to borrow the young ones out there. You need to borrow your self-sense because I've borrowed my self-sense.
Yeah.
I won't do what we are discussing here. Quickly, do you think the security, or should I say, the judiciary and the security are really ready to curtail this menace?
Yes, in the history of revolution, it's revolution. Nigerians will head for a revolution. This revolution is revolution without bloodshed. And I think in that the judiciary, the security must be compelled to do the right thing. Because the same thing that happened if there's a change, radical change at the executive level, and not even at the legislative level, the same thing will happen at the judiciary and security sectors if they don't do the right thing. Because the force of the people, the masses, the force of the people is no matter how many people can you kill. Even if you can't kill everybody, and the paper determined.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Many thanks for coming on the program. Well, time is no longer on our side. Thank you very much once again for creating time to be here. And we look forward to having another interesting episode on next week edition of Weekend Panorama. That is where we draw the curtains today. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, we are on social media, and you can get us on our handles. We are on Facebook at NTA Lokoja, and you can also get us on Instagram at NTA Lokoja 1992. All our reports are there. You can make your comments. You can make your views there made known to us. Do enjoy the rest of the weekend. I remain sincerely yours, Wadiem Abubakar. Stay safe and bye for now.